touch of the Master, He can make them whole. There'll be some people blame God for their health. Don't blame God. We're in a sin-cursed world right now. I tell people, you're going to be healed one way or the other one day. There's going to be a day where there ain't no sickness. Ain't you glad of that? Every hospital in this country, the world will be put out of order one day. Praise the Lord. How about family? This is a trying one. Job's wife wanted him to curse God and die. Don't you know? Won't you just curse God and die? Don't you know sometimes the devil will use your family to try to get under your skin more than any other one? Some of my own worst critics didn't ever come from my friends. Some of your own worst critics come from your own household. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Some of them that go try to get under your skin more than any of them is those that reside in your bloodline. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I've got some like that. They can just get under your skin. Be pesky. The ones that talk the most sometimes. It ain't your enemies. It ain't your friends. We're going to talk about friends here in a minute. The ones that can get under your skin more than your own worst enemy comes from what? Your own household. Don't tell me God, the devil don't use financial problems to get people to doubt God. He don't use tragedies to get people to turn from God. He don't use health reasons to get people to turn from God. He don't use people in their families to get them to turn from God. How about this one? I've always said for friends like these, I need no enemies. He had 3 friends that thought they knew what they were talking about and didn't have no idea what they're talking about. They just ramble on and have no idea what they're saying. They falsely accused him. Well, you find out who your friends are when you're going through the low places, don't you? You find out who your friends really are when you turn your life over to the Lord. Boy, for friends like these right here at this point, anybody know what I'm talking about? Your friends begin to point 3 fingers at you. Yeah, Satan will use friends. He'll use friends to bring you down. As a pastor, I watch who I hang with now. Because who you hang with is who you can become. Amen. I want some people that's going to edify, not bring me down. You'll find out who your friends are when you make a commitment to God. When you make a born-again, true, genuine commitment, you'll see who's with you and who's against you. Or who was just using you for what you could give them. But friends like this, he were falsely accused by them. They thought they could speak. The enemy uses these things to try to destroy one. Ain't that something? I know there's other things the enemy uses to get one to doubt God. But I noticed a lot of times he'll use these things many more times than any others. You can go through prayer requests. It's either sickness, financial, health reasons, or family members. Amen. Because many times the devil will use these things to try to get you to doubt God. But I've come by to tell you, hang on to the unchanging hand of God. Hang on to the hand of Jehovah God tonight. Let me tell you, it may look bad, but just keep believing God for your financial breakthrough. You may go through a tragedy, but God's got a way of working something good out of it. You may be sick tonight, but let me tell you, He is the Lord that still healeth thee tonight. You may have family trying to get into them, but don't listen to them. You may have friends that's trying to accuse you tonight, but let me tell you, they ain't no weapon formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that rises up against you, you shall judge them one day. Ain't you know that tonight? There ain't a weapon formed against the child of God that is going to prosper unless we allow it to. Faith's definitely under fire. Let me tell you, child of God, though your faith may be under fire, mark my words, and get this, child of God. You say, it's had upon. Can I tell you, this fiery faith under fire didn't orchestrate in hell. I believe like Job, God's putting you through it to see what you're made out of sometimes. To show the devil they could withstand more than they think they can. And let me tell you, you think you're going through hell. You wonder where the limit's at. God's got a limit for the child of God. Did you hear me? For the saint of God, for the blood-bought child, He's put a limit on what the devil can do. You know the things I mentioned about Job? There was one thing the devil wanted to do but could not do. He would have done it from the very beginning if he could have. But there was a line that says you ain't touching his life. You can touch everything around him, but you ain't going to touch him more. You guess what? That old bad wolf, that old roaring lion as he wants to be, that old toothless chihuahua could not touch the very life of Job because there was a limit upon him. God said you can't cross that line. How many know tonight you're going through hell, and I got news for you, saint of God. God's got a limit where the devil can go. Hang on. If he could, he would have took your life from the very beginning. But he couldn't. Oh, Lord. He couldn't. He could not take your life. You're going through that time. You need to remember, it's only for a little while. God's got a limit on that enemy. Think about this. When you're going through that fire, you got to hang on to the promises of God. Did you hear me? There was something the Bible records about Job and everything that he done. He did not sin, and he did not charge God falsely, did he? Through everything he done, he would not do any of these things. Let me tell you what he done when he lost his children. Most people would have probably flipped out. Did it hurt Job to lose his children? Yes, it did. When he lost his children, he got that news. Let me tell you what Job 1:20 tells us. And Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground. And what? Worshipped. That's what you call hanging on right there, ain't it? When you get the bad news and you said, I'm going to worship anyway. When I'm going through the fire, I'm going to worship anyway. When all hell's breaking loose, I'm going to worship anyway. I'm going to fall upon the ground and give him praise. I'm going to give him glory through everything. I will praise the Lord. While this blow would have almost killed a man, we see that this man had a consecration before God. We see this man had a heart before God. We see this man had faith in God, don't we? Because when you go through something like that, I know it may not feel like a time to worship, but that's the time you got to worship. When you're beaten, battered, and abused, you may not feel like it, but that is the time you need to fall upon your face and hang on to the promises of God. Your face under fire. You just need to worship. Did you hear me? What will worship do? It'll get your mind off everything around you. Worship will bring down the presence of God. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Lord, though he slay me, yet I will trust in him. I believe that worship, as you get closer into the promises of God, it allows one to grip on, and it builds your faith in that time of worship. I'm going through a financial setback, but Lord, You said you're the one that will provide all of my needs according to your riches and glory. You got a health problem tonight? Let me tell you, you're the Lord that said you would healeth all of my body and all my diseases. You're the Lord that healeth all. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I'm going through some problems. I don't know what to do, but Lord, you said you are my counselor tonight. You are my guiding light. You are my teacher tonight. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You got to just hang on. When I don't understand, when I don't get it, you got to hang on to the hand of God and to the promises of God. That worship again. It's the reason Job was able to say in Job 13 and 15, one of my favorite verses in the Bible, though he slay me, yet I will trust in him. Notice this after that. But I will maintain my own ways before him. What he's saying there. Yeah, this is bad, but I'm going to keep doing what I've done before. Amen. I'm going to keep going one more time. One more time. I'm going to keep doing what I've done before. Worship you one more time. I'm going to lift my hands in praise before you one more time. I'm going to sing one more song one more time. I'm going to tithe one more time. I'm going to pray one more prayer. I'm going to read one more chapter. I'm going to go to his house one more time. I'm going to keep doing it the way I've been doing it. Boy, that really upsets the devil. That's what he's talking about. I'll maintain my own ways. I believe that. Job said, I'm not going to change anything. I know where I stand before God. I know where my faith is. I'm going to keep serving him. What are you saying, church? I'm saying sometimes you're going through hell and you feel like giving up. Don't give up. Keep doing what you've been doing. You're making all of hell mad for a reason. Amen. Job didn't get it. And I guarantee you, we've been through times we didn't get it. Job didn't know he was going to be read about thousands of years later, did he? None of them in the Bible probably did, but Jesus. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't know their story was being recorded. Amen. We'll get there here in a few minutes. Sometimes you got to say, I'm going to maintain my own ways. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I know it don't look good, and I know I've been affected by everything, but I'm going to keep on keeping on. I'm going to keep marching in the armies of the Lord. Tell you, we'll keep on believing. And we'll keep on praying. And he's heard you from day one. Why do you say persist? Because there's a battle that's going on. God heard you from day one, but there's a battle that's trying to hinder that prayer from being answered. And we got to do some warfare, don't we? I mean, no, you ain't never going to win the battle if you ain't on the battlefield. Amen? How many know you ain't going to be an overcomer if you're not standing there with Christ? How many know how you like it, the old saying, quitters never win? How, let me put it like this. People who give up on God will never receive from God. Let me tell you, it's amazing to me that people, first little thing goes wrong, the first one they want to give up on is God. Ain't it? Anybody ever seen somebody like that? Let me tell you, it ain't a time to give up. It is time to move forward. When that faith is under fire, I've got to maintain my own ways. I've got to keep doing what I got to keep doing. I've got to preach one more time. I got to play one more time. I got to teach one more time. I got to sing one more time. I got to witness one more time. I got to keep on one more time. Because I trust him, I'm going to maintain that which I know of. I don't need to try nothing else. You got a giant in front of you. I'm speaking to somebody going through the fire in here tonight. Somebody's going through their fire. Their faith is under fire tonight. I don't know who it is, but I believe there's somebody under my voice.